they talking real loud. Spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, also on Twitter or X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Okay, I'm uploading something real quick. Okay, so let's see who is in here. All right, Didi in Dallas is here. Claudette. Okay, Stacy, Alice. All right, Buckhorst DC. Okay, let's get into it. We the people. G from the land is here. Ma'at Egypt. Shout out to everybody in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Okay, where's my moderators? Do I have any moderators today? Hey, we the people. Jeff ATL. All right, the Crazy Beach Aries is here. All right, Desmond is in the house. Okay, shout out to my moderators putting in work. Anita Harrell is here. Okay, so let's get this party started. Now, everybody hit that like button, and y'all better make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, honey, because I'm not even joking. I saw this morning they had unsubscribed 10 people since yesterday. Don't let it be you. All right. Hey, pretty wings. Shamika is here. Most hated bronze flat power God. Okay, so let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get into the mess. All right. Lights up, everybody. Lights up.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so I have some sad news. Now, it took me a minute to get on here because every time, not every time, sometimes I'm just late because I'm just doing too much. But sometimes right after I get ready, some more news pops up, and this is some sad news. Okay, actor Val Kilmer is dead at the age of 65. Okay, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. He was one of my favorite actors. And also, condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones, and his colleagues. So let's talk about it. Any Val Kilmer fans in the chat? Val Kilmer fans in the chat, raise your hands. Ones in the chat if you are a Val Kilmer fan. Anybody got anything to say? Anybody like Val Kilmer? Gene Hackman's gone. That was another one of my favorites. Cicely Tyson just a couple of years ago. Angie Stone. I mean, people are dropping like flies. Are y'all paying attention? This is starting to make me feel real old, people. All of my favorites are passing away. Okay, so a lot of ones in the chat. Okay, so let's talk about it. Again, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. Okay. That's him in his final days, but we're going to go through, talk about some of his movies, specifically some of my favorites. Val Kilmer, last seen in public appearance with his daughter Mercedes 5 years before his death at age 65. Now, here is a picture of him and his daughter, and this is the last time they say he was seen in public. Okay. Val Kilmer made his last appearance over 5 years before his death. The actor's daughter, Mercedes, age 33, confirmed this with the New York Times. She said that he died of pneumonia on Tuesday, April the 1st, at the age of 65. She also added that he was previously diagnosed with throat cancer in 2014 and later recovered. Kilmer's last public outing took place with Mercedes at the annual Thespians Go Hollywood Gala at Avalon Hollywood in 2019. At the event, on November the 18th of 2019, the star posed for pictures or photos on the red carpet with his only daughter, who is also an actor and co-starred alongside her dad in the 2020's Pay Dirt. In addition to Mercedes, Kilmer shared son, Jack, who's 28, with his ex-wife, Joanne Whalley. Kilmer, who is known for movies such as the 1986 Top Gun and 1995's Batman Forever. In my opinion, Val Kilmer was the best Batman. He was the best Batman in my opinion. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, also reprising the role of Tom Iceman Kazansky alongside Tom Cruise's Pete Mitchell, Kilmer appeared in the film briefly, sharing a touching moment with Cruise, who's now 62, on screen. And that was from the movie Top Gun, and then the sequel Maverick that came out in 1986. Okay, I want to say that that was pretty emotional. That's what Cruise said. He told Jimmy Kimmel this in 2023 about working with his co-star again. I've known Val for decades, and for him to come back and play that character, he's such a powerful actor that he instantly becomes the character again. Mercedes also opened up about her father starring in the sequel and called his on-set encounter with Cruise extraordinary. All right, this is a picture from him in one of my favorite Westerns, Tombstone. Anybody saw that movie? As a matter of fact, that is my favorite Western, not one of them, that actually is. All right, so anyway, weeks before his death, Kilmer appeared in an Instagram video with artist and musician David Coe. Returning to his Batman Forever role, Bruce Wayne, the star sat on the ground before wearing a rubber black and white Batman mask, saying, "I'm ready. I have an angle for us. It's been a while." Coe, who was captured working on what appeared to be another art piece that matched Kilmer's mask, I guess the mask that he wore in Batman Forever. It says, well, you look great. Stars including Josh Brolin, Josh Gad, and Billy Zane have paid tribute to Kilmer following his death. Zane wrote on Instagram alongside a photo of Kilmer on Don Holliday in his 1993 movie Tombstone. Okay, he played Doc Holliday. I don't know why they have Don. It's a typo, but he played Doc Holliday. Says, if ever a filmography captures the essence of a true artist, by definition, it's this man's canon. Rest in peace, amigo. See you when I see you. At Val Kilmer Official. And then another one says, see you, pal. I'm going to miss you. You were smart, challenging, brave, uber creative, a firecracker. That's what the Goonies star Brolin, who's now 57, said about it. All right. So anyway, very sad that Mr. Kilmer is no longer with us. I'm going to go to the last video that he did on Instagram before he passed away. And then we'll get into these nefarious receipts, because trust me, they're nefarious. Okay, like stuff, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you.
All right.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Yes, I have an answer for us. It's been a while.
Oh, you look great.
I hope he responds.
All right, as you can see, he had some difficulty speaking after having that battle with throat cancer in 2014. All right, so anyway, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. Condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. Like I said, he was one of my favorites, especially the movie Tombstone, Batman Forever, and one of my other favorites, Wonderland. Who saw the movie based on a true story, The Wonderland Murders? Val Kilmer was great in that movie. That movie was really good. It was gruesome, but it was based on a true crime. Okay? Very good movie. If you didn't see it, honey, you might want to check it out. Okay, so the Wonderland Murders. That's what that was called. I think that was what it was called, Wonderland, but it was about the Wonderland Murders. Okay, so with that having been said, let's get into it. Let's get into it because, you know, Elon said he's got y'all's receipts that y'all been asking about. Yeah, he claims that he has them. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Wide-scale domestic terrorism. Elon Musk urges authorities to go after the generals behind the Tesla attacks. Now, amid a wave of violence against Tesla vehicles, showrooms, and charging stations, Department of Government Efficiency Chief Elon Musk labeled the attacks as wide-scale domestic terrorism and demanded authorities go after the generals behind this violence. Now, reports of Tesla-related incidents have been increasing nationwide, ranging from minor vandalism as keying or graffiti to more extreme cases like arson and drive-by shootings allegedly targeting Tesla vehicles. So over the weekend, anti-Musk protesters saw one of their biggest shows of force as the decentralized movement known as Tesla Takedown planned a global day of action targeting more than 500 Tesla locations worldwide. They said this is fundamentally a case of terrorism. It's wide-scale domestic terrorism with the purpose of intimidation, and it's harming innocent people. It's really terrible. This is what Musk said on Tuesday on the 5. What we actually have to get to are the people who are organizing and paying for these attacks and protests. That's who we really need to go after, because the people that are actually throwing the Molotov cocktails, they're the foot soldiers, and we need to go after the generals, he said. Now, the president has made it very clear that we're going to go after those that are paying and organizing these violent attacks. And Attorney General Bondi has said the same thing. I believe that this is exactly what will happen. Okay, this is what he says. The administration knows who these generals are. Well, honey, tell us. They know who the generals are that are organizing all of this? I would love to know who it is. Does George Soros ring a bell? I have several questions, but anyway, okay, he might have something to do with it. That's all I'm saying. Now, So in response to the nationwide violence, the FBI launched a task force to investigate attacks on Tesla owners. FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the incidents are being treated as domestic terrorism. The chief Tesla executive rebuffed the incredible hypocrites within the legacy media and Democratic Party, arguing that the rhetoric of Doge critics has fueled anger against Tesla and its supporters. Well, I don't think that's it. I don't think it's the rhetoric against the Doge critics. I really think it's the fact that Elon's doing too much and that people are upset that he's messing up with things that are going along in the government, such as Social Security, Medicare. I mean, I don't know. You know, some people are feeling that they're inconvenienced and that their needs aren't being met and they're not having what they need to live without a struggle, thanks to Elon and Trump's foolishness. So maybe that's why they're setting it on fire. So anyway, I don't think rhetoric has anything to do with it, okay? At least not from his critics. Now, I find it ironic and incredibly hypocritical that the same Democrat politicians who would want to throw someone in prison for 20 years for simply watching things at January the 6th, but not actually doing any violence, you don't hear a single word from them about the actual violence happening against Tesla. Is that what he really said? Is he really serious about this? Do y'all hear it? So he thinks that them vandalizing Tesla is worse than the January 6th riot. That really shows you what a narcissist he is and how much of an ego he has. Okay, please pay attention. He sounds ridiculous. And then he says there was no violence. They were just watching things at the January the 6th. At the January the 6th, what? The riot, right? Because he didn't even say what it was. They were watching things at January 6th. The riot that they were causing, the insurrection, sir. What are you talking about? No violence. 2 people ended up dead. One of them a police officer, mind you. Completely out of touch. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Musk also discussed his concerns about the Democratic agenda at the state level as voters head to the ballot to determine the fate of the key battleground state's Supreme Court. Now, Wisconsin voters marched to the polls on Tuesday to decide if conservatives or liberals will control the majority on the state's Supreme Court, which is likely to rule on crucial issues, including congressional redistricting, voting, and labor rights and abortion. Now, with a massive infusion of money from Democrats and Republican-aligned groups from outside Wisconsin, which turned the race into the most expensive judicial election in the nation's history, mind you, the contest has turned into a referendum on Trump's sweeping moves in his first 100 days. Now, Musk, who has found himself front and center in the electoral showdown, warned the outcome could threaten the Republican Party's razor-thin majority in the House and in turn wreak havoc on the Trump agenda. Saying all the president's trying to do is implement the will of the people, and they're trying to stop the will of the people through judicial trickery. This is what Musk said, not judicial trickery. He's coining phrases, y'all. Please pay attention. Okay, outlining the potential ripple effect of Wisconsin's Supreme Court election. Now, the judiciary has been hard at work within the checks and balances system, with many district judges and state courts blocking moves from the Trump administration. Some critics, like Musk, have labeled these judicators as activist judges, saying there is a huge problem with activists that are actually politicians in judges' robes, and that needs to stop. Okay, Elon says, these fake judges should be ashamed of themselves. They're just pretending to be judges, but they're not. They're making the law instead of implementing the law. Well, I don't know about you all, but I absolutely love it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I had that on the screen. Sorry, I meant to take that down, you all. My bad. But anyway, do you all hear this fool? Stacey called him a muskrat, said muskrat needs to stay out of politics and tend to his business. Okay, but do y'all hear this? Like he called them fake judges. Like, how dare you? Okay, that's what he said. He has the smoke for them. These fake judges should be ashamed of themselves. They're just pretending to be judges, but they're not. They're making the law instead of implementing the law. All right, then, Elon, tell them how you really feel, beloved. All right. So anyway, but that's not all. Now, Elon, I'm going to show you all this video where Elon brought forth some receipts. Okay, y'all said y'all wanted invoices and receipts, right? Elon Musk's disclosure of planned Social Security fraud arrest troubles top law enforcement officials and sources. Because he said somebody going to jail, honey. Y'all can sit here and play all you want. Somebody's getting locked the hell up. Okay. So tech billionaire and senior Trump advisor Elon Musk appeared to boast of advanced knowledge of a planned arrest related to alleged Social Security fraud during an appearance on a live stream Monday night promoted to his more than 200 million social media followers, frustrating top law enforcement officials. Multiple sources gave this information to ABC. Okay, so let's look at this news report, because why are they frustrated? If someone has been actively committing Social Security fraud, shouldn't they, in fact, be arrested? I mean, this is what I've been waiting on, because him and Trump kept talking about fraud. And I'm like, if there's fraud, who's going to jail? Because last I checked, it was illegal.
Now, an ABC News exclusive, sources telling ABC News that top law enforcement officials are frustrated over recent comments from Elon Musk. We're told that they're concerned over his claim that he had advanced knowledge of a planned arrest related to alleged Social Security fraud. ABC News senior reporter Catherine Faulders is live for us in our D.C. bureau. So, Catherine, it sounds like he was referring to some kind of ongoing federal investigation during a live stream. What more are you and your team hearing from your sources?
Yeah, that's what sources are telling us, Kana. So he made these comments yesterday during a live stream on Musk to his more than 200 million followers. Now, Musk was asked a question by somebody about whether Attorney General Pam Bondi was going to prosecute fraud in the Social Security system. And Musk responded to that saying, I actually think that there is an arrest tomorrow. Now, that would be today. It's unclear if that arrest has been made. But he says, yes, in fact, I believe someone is going to be arrested tomorrow. Musk goes on to discuss this alleged planned arrest, saying, claiming at least that this person who they plan to arrest actually stole 400,000 Social Security numbers and personal information. Musk doesn't say how he came to learn this information, Kana, or learn about this planned arrest, but these sources who we're speaking to are telling us that he was referring to an ongoing federal investigation and that his public disclosure of this matter was disturbing to top law enforcement officials who had direct knowledge of the probe. And we know that previewing an arrest before it takes place would conflict with standard practice intended to protect potentially sensitive law enforcement operations and those involved in carrying those law enforcement operations out. Now, we asked the White House for comment on this. The White House referred to the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice did not answer our inquiries on this, but it certainly raises questions about how Musk learned about this information and what more he possibly knows about sensitive law enforcement operations, Kana.
And his willingness to disclose it during a live stream. Very interesting. Catherine Faulders, thanks to you.
So Elon just let the cat out of the bag? Like, dude, it's a federal investigation. Why are you giving up the receipts? He sat there and ran his mouth and said that somebody's going to be arrested, when they're going to be arrested, how much, what they stole. They stole 400,000 Social Security numbers. First of all, what is anybody going to do with 400,000 Social Security numbers? How do you even keep track? How do you even sift through all that stuff? But the fact that he ran his mouth ahead of time, this further shows the incompetency of the Trump administration. Why would he just come out and say that? Now, whoever the person is that allegedly stole the 400,000 Social Security numbers, if that person heard him, and I'm sure they did because it's everywhere, that he's talking about they're going to get arrested, you don't think they might try to run, flee, get up out of Dodge? Why would you say that? And then you compromise the investigation likely too. Okay? Because do you really think the feds wanted them to know that? Like, what is going on here? Janine said, I like Elon Musk and the others finding corruption. Finding corruption is one thing. But if you want the people that are engaged in the corruption to actually be arrested and prosecuted, maybe you don't want to run your mouth about the impending arrest and letting everybody know what the feds are up to behind closed doors, because that's just not something he should have shared. Okay, Elon's an idiot. Okay, they're all idiots. That's just a fact. All of these people are idiots. I mean, there's no denying it at this point, okay? There is no denying it. Now, let's get into Elon's receipts, because he came up here, did this whole presentation. It was all dramatic. Elon Musk explosive claims at Wisconsin rally. 20 million Social Security beneficiaries are non-citizens. And Elon said he has the receipts to prove it. What's really going on here? I told you all that the Biden administration was supposedly allegedly giving away Social Security benefits to immigrants.
Mocked as a lie. This is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just
This literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud.
Massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible. And I'd like to welcome my friend Antonio Gracias to the stage. All right, so let's see. Does it work? I can give you mine. Does it work? It'll be okay. I mean, Buzz Aldrin's still alive, and he went past the belts.
It worked. Is this working? Yeah, it's on now. Yeah.
There you go. So, Antonio, can you tell us what you? Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So, just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of it?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff that we're working on. You've heard some of that already, but this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we're like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed us in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on. Yeah. So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from DC to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid. They'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay, so what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview. No ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep. No. They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it. And Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through on every benefit program we went through. We found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why.
Right.
And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already, that is already happening.
Well, they said they referred them for prosecution, honey. So somebody's going to jail. Okay, Diddy and Dallas said anybody can make a damn chart. Diddy, please don't start hating on Elon. Y'all asked that man for receipts and he brought them. Okay? Now he said somebody's going to jail. How much more receipts do y'all need? Elon said he brought a chart, honey, to show y'all how it all went down. But you're absolutely right, Diddy. Anybody could make a chart, beloved. Okay, but I guess we'll see if anyone gets arrested. Okay, so now with that all been said, let's talk about Mr. Luigi Magione, because they're trying to give this poor man the death penalty. And I know some of you are probably thinking, this poor man, he's a whole killer. Well, yeah, he is. But at the end of the day, did he have a just cause? So is he someone that people should deem as a hero, as many do? I don't know, but I tell you what, if they execute this man, they're only going to turn him into a martyr. Okay, that's how that's going to go. If they execute this poor man, they're going to turn him into a martyr. All right, and that's just the facts, because people are for him, okay, and not for the government and the nefarious pharmaceutical industry or the healthcare industry in this country. Now, and here's the thing also that I find interesting. They're talking about naming a bill after him as well. Okay, about proposing a California bill that they want to name after him. So let's talk about that first. Latest proposed California ballot measure named after Luigi Magione. Alleged United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Magione can be immortalized in California law, even if Trump sends him to the electric chair, as a ballot effort is underway to create an insurance measure called the Luigi Magione Access to Healthcare Act. It's no secret that accused United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Magione is something of a cult hero, and to many, even a heartthrob. NBC News reported this week that there were heart-shaped love letters to Magione smuggled in with his socks in the clothes that his attorneys provided him to wear for his court appearances. Isn't that sweet? Some people just love to date these killers. They really do. Now, in the latest bit of Magione mania, a group of Los Angeles-based activists is hoping to start collecting signatures to place a ballot measure in a future statewide California election inspired by Magione. It's a measure to rein into the health industry, the health insurance industry, and would make it illegal for anyone other than a doctor to deny medication or medical procedures to a patient. And as Cron 4 reports, the name of this measure is the Luigi Magione Access to Healthcare Act. Now, to be fair, this is likely a publicity stunt. The initiative submission to the California Attorney General's office even misspells Luigi Magione's name as Luigi Mangione. Okay, so they may not have dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. Either way, a measure to make it illegal for insurance companies to delay, deny, or modify any medical procedure or medication and leave that right only to a licensed physician may prove popular enough. And even if it gets enough signatures to qualify for the ballot, the state attorney general's office has final say on what ballot measures are called. So it seems unlikely the name Luigi Magione Access to Healthcare Act will survive that process. Moreover, the activists cannot even collect signatures on the measure yet. While a request has been submitted, like all citizen-crafted ballot proposals, it's under a 30-day public comment period, which in this case will last until April the 25th. Now, the Attorney General's office would then craft the language, the actual language of the measure before supporters would even be able to begin collecting signatures to get it on the ballot. There are also no statewide elections currently scheduled for 2025. Obviously, anti-California conservatives are already in a huff over this, furious that anyone would dare to celebrate an accused murderer. Though these same anti-California conservatives have celebrated Kyle Rittenhouse. Don't y'all find that interesting? Think about it. All the money they gave him, and let's not forget about George Zimmerman, but they want to get mad at people for praising this man who did what he thought was the honorable thing to do for the people. Now, with that all being said, they celebrated Kyle Rittenhouse by asking him to testify before a state legislature. Okay, Rittenhouse killed 2 people at a Wisconsin protest. And yes, we know that they want to say it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-defense. But at the end of the day, he went there to kill somebody. Okay, that's why he came there in the first place. Let's not forget the video that we saw of him talking about he wished he had his AR-15 so he could have shot people that he thought were shoplifting. Okay, he's a whole killer. Please pay attention. And a wanton supremacist. I don't like Kyle Rittenhouse, as you can see. Well, let me continue. So anyway, they celebrated Daniel Penny. Let's not forget about him, who took the life of Jordan Neely, the homeless man on the subway. Okay, they celebrated him by giving him a job at Andreessen Horowitz. Penny killed a homeless man on the New York subway. Okay, so they just pick and choose. This is what I call selective outrage. They want to get so upset about Luigi Magione, but then they celebrate the murderers that they enjoy. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. That's what they do. When they take out somebody who looks like me, oh, they don't care. They'll celebrate them and deem them as heroes. That's what they do. Please pay attention. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video about the bill, and then we'll talk about them trying to give this man the, which I disagree with. The death penalty should be reserved for people who are PDF files. They should get the death penalty. Okay, that's what they should get. Period.
Me now, Paul. Tell me, you're naming this after a man who's accused of murder. Why name it after him, regardless of how important this legislation might be?
It basically was designed to get attention to the issue and get publicity for the issue.
Okay. Well, you succeeded there. There have been plenty of videos and examples of doctors talking about insurance companies refusing to cover things. There was one doctor who talked about the fact that the insurance company was refusing to pay for a wheelchair for his patient who was a double amputee and demanding that the doctor prove that his patient couldn't walk.
Okay. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, those kinds of stories you hear about a lot.
I have not heard that one, but that's the first time I've heard that one.
Okay, tell me what your bill would do, how this would work.
The bill basically says insurance may not delay, deny, or modify medical procedure or medication, or reduce payment where the treating physician or the delay, denial, or modification could result in disability, death, amputation, permanent disfigurement, loss, or reduction of any bodily function.
All right, well, how do you, the health insurance industry says we're not delaying or denying. We're just simply doing due diligence.
There's also a provision that if, first of all, if they're delaying or denying, they have to have it reviewed by a physician. They can't, it's not an insurance person, it's by a physician. Secondly, there's also a remedy that if they act improperly in the event a lawsuit is filed by any insurer who sought to delay, deny, or modify or reduce their payment, etc., they have the burden to prove by clear and convincing evidence that it was unnecessary, not result in disability, amputation, permanent disfigurement, loss, or reduction of bodily function, and they're liable for treble damages and attorney's fees. There's a civil remedy in there.
All right, so back up a second. Who's making these decisions? So your point is that it's not doctors who are second guessing the doctors; it's accountants.
I've heard that people. I've never worked in the insurance industry. I did a short period where I was representing, insured defendants, but that was liability insurance mostly. But that was not one of my favorite areas of practice. But it basically says that a decision to delay or deny a modification must be made by a physician, and it makes it a felony not to use a physician to delay, deny, or modify.
So what are the chances this is actually going to will pass, this legislation you have introduced?
It's something that goes, the way it works in California is you have to gather over 500,000 signatures. I don't know the exact amount, valid signatures. It then goes on the ballot. The voters decide yes or no. It's a proposed section amendment to the Health and Safety Code. I think it needs a simple majority. If it passes, it becomes law in California.
Do you think the chances are good it'll pass? There's a lot of public outrage. We saw that after Luigi Mangione was arrested for the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. A lot of Americans are very, very frustrated.
I have not gathered any poll. I've had emails calling me sick, evil. One person saying that they hope me and my family are killed by a bunch of deranged assassans. That's the extreme. I'll eliminate the profanity in that one.
Wait,
but
who are these from?
I just get email. My email address is public, and that's just in the emails that I've been getting.
Are you getting any backlash for naming this after Luigi Mangione?
I'd say about a quarter of them complained about naming it after Luigi Mangione. I had one call on a different issue from somebody from North Carolina earlier today. I had an email from someone in Kansas suggesting I contact the Kansas Attorney General to try and get a similar thing in there. I'm getting emails I'd say are probably about 3/4 positive, and most of the negative ones complain about naming it after Luigi Mangione.
All right. Fascinating, but it's obviously an issue people have a lot of strong feelings of. A pretty healthy chunk of healthcare claims are denied by insurance companies, and medical expenses are the #1 reason for bankruptcies in this country. So it's an issue. Paul Eisner, thanks for joining us. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't
Okay, so, there you have it. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, someone said that it should be free. Dan said universal health care should be the law of the land, period. Well, that would be great, and I agree. The reason that health care isn't free in the United States, in my opinion, is because they don't want people who look like me to have free health care. They don't want us to have access to free health care. That's just my opinion. Because a woman came out some years ago and exposed it. She said that initially, when they created Medicare and decided that Medicare would cover 80% of medical expenses for disabled people, the seniors, elders, or whatever, the reason that was done that way and not covering 100% is because they didn't want Black people. This is what she said. They didn't want Black people to have free access to healthcare. They wanted Black people to have to pay the 20%, thinking that that would deter them from getting medical treatment when needed. And that worked. That worked. You see, now they have Medicaid, for people who don't have the full coverage. But back then they didn't. And they basically wanted Black people to have to pay out of pocket so that they would be less inclined to go to the doctor when needed. Okay. I just want you all to think about all the different ways that they can enact and engage in medical genocide. Okay, so they would rather cut off their noses to spite their own faces, because you see, if you only make it pay 80% and then people have to come up with the other 20 some sort of way, well, that affects them too. But they'd rather do that to themselves than to let us have free health care in this country. Now, that's what the lady reported. Okay, I can't remember the woman's name, but she did a whole video about it, just breaking it all down. So I thought it was very interesting. Okay, and so please pay attention. This is the low down, dirty stuff that happens in the divided snakes. Okay, but we're supposed to think that we've moved so far away. And see, this kind of stuff is exactly why I don't need, nor do you need, little Miss Jasmine Crockett out here imitating Kendrick Lamar, doing skits, and just always going in on people. We need her to put in some work. Okay, and I need Cory Booker to stop crying and getting all sentimental and emotional and man up and get to work. Okay, now listen to this. DOJ seeking death penalty in murder case against Luigi Magione. The United States Department of Justice announced it will seek the death penalty in the case against Luigi Magione, should he be found guilty of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Attorney General Pam Bondi made the announcement Tuesday, tying the move to President Donald Trump's agenda as put by Bondi in a memo saying reviving the federal death penalty and lifting the moratorium on federal executions. Now, after careful consideration, I have directed federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty in this case as we carry out President Trump's agenda to stop violent crime and make America safe again. That's what Bondi had to say. You know, here's a thought. If they want to make America safe again, why don't they send those January the 6th thugs back to prison where they belong? That wasn't violence, and they're all pardoned. Please miss me with it, but let's continue. Magione, age 26, faces both federal and state charges of capital murder and the slaying of Thompson, who was shot in New York City on December the 4th of last year. A nationwide manhunt led authorities to arrest Magione, a man from Maryland, on December the 9th, while he was eating at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. He was officially indicted in New York for the murder on December the 19th. The state does not have the death penalty, and the maximum penalty for first-degree murder being life in prison. However, the federal charge against Magione, murder through his use of a firearm, does allow for prosecution working with the DOJ to seek the death penalty after a conviction. The state is currently in the preliminary process and has yet to enter jury selection. Well, I hope he doesn't get the death penalty. I don't think he deserves the death penalty. Okay, I just don't. That's just my opinion. Queen Sam said they can start there. How many of them have been rearrested or deleted since their release? You know, interesting you bring that up, because there was one man who was released, and then the very next day he supposedly got into a shootout with the police and ended up dead. Do you all remember me reporting on that? Which I thought that sounded very suspicious. I mean, what are the chances? Were the police targeting him? Were they seeking him out? Or was he just being violent? I don't know. But that was real crazy. Nate says, are we still looking for justice from our oppressors? Trump just told us what's up. They want a race war. Power never respects weakness. That's universal law. You know, honey, I absolutely agree that power never respects weakness. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, as far as a race war is concerned, it doesn't look to me like they want a race war. What it looks like to me is they're about to be in a civil war with themselves. Okay, it's people who look like them that are setting Teslas on fire and vandalizing the showroom floors and all of that. Okay, they're arguing amongst themselves. It is them who are angry with Trump and Elon. It is them who are going to have a protest April the 5th. Now, I would say that it's safe to assume not a race war, honey. They're going to be fighting amongst themselves. What's there going to be a race war for, honey? We're minding our own black business. They're the ones having all the uproar, not us. We don't have anything to do with it, that's all I'm saying. Okay? Now, with that all being said, everyone please hit that like button. Thank you in advance. So let's talk about this black woman. Someone sent me this. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. But this black woman supposedly got kicked off of a flight for merely looking at a white flight attendant in a lawsuit. This is what the lawsuit says. A black woman says she was removed from a Delta Airlines flight after simply looking at a flight attendant who was Caucasian. Now, according to Atlanta's Black Star, Teresa Hudson Jordan filed a federal discrimination lawsuit alleging that she was kicked off a Delta flight after a flight attendant took issue with the way she looked at her. I mean, this is real ignorant to me, okay? These people are doing the most. The alleged incident unfolded on March 27th when Jordan, a frequent Delta flyer and first-class passenger, and her teenage daughter were flying to Lexington, Kentucky to New York, from Lexington, Kentucky to New York City. Now, after the plane doors closed, Jordan leaned over to say something to her daughter. A flight attendant then passed by, and Jordan looked up at her and made eye contact, but did not say a word, according to the complaint. Jordan's eye contact sparked a sudden outburst from the flight attendant, according to the complaint. Without any provocation whatsoever, flight attendant Joe, a Caucasian woman, began screaming at Miss Jordan, yelling, "Don't look at me like that. Don't give me eye up. Don't eye me up and down. If you can't comply with my commands, then I'll turn this plane around and we can go back to the gates." Honey, let me tell you something. I wouldn't have said anything because I wouldn't have wanted to get kicked off that flight. I wouldn't have said a word. I wouldn't have said a word. I would just sat there. And then as soon as the plane landed, I'd have told her something so shocking about herself. No threats, but I'd have gave her something to, to think about as I headed out the gates. Now, please pay attention. That's how you do that. So anyway, talking about she can turn the plane around. Girl, you're not the pilot. Okay, you are not even the pilot. Honey, these Karens, they love to try it. Now, with that all been said, Jordan repeatedly told the flight attendant that she would comply, but the plane worker continued her rampage per the suit. Should have been talking about herself. See, that's why I wouldn't say that. I don't argue with fools or Karens. Anyway, the passenger stayed in her seat and never raised her voice during the exchange as other bystanders looked on in disbelief at the flight attendant's unwarranted outburst. You know what I would have done? As a matter of fact, I'd have just turned my back and sat there. I looked straight ahead, just like that man did when Justin Pearson went in on him and got all up in his face, pointing his finger. He sat there looking straight ahead. He wouldn't even look over his shoulder to see what Justin was up to, honey. But let me continue. I've never seen or heard a flight attendant act so aggressively towards a passenger. It was disturbing and unwarranted, is what one bystander reported to Delta per the complaint. Another wrote that the flight attendant had threatened Miss Jordan as if she were a dog or a slave. Ooh, honey. See, this is how you handle stuff like this. You don't act foolish. You don't get into a shouting match. You don't start making threats. You sit there and mind your business, because at the end of the day, that's how you get a lawsuit, okay? You don't make yourself the aggressor, all right? That's what you don't do. Just let them sit there and talk trash. That's all they're doing is talking. Now, they start putting hands, that's another story. But when somebody's acting like that and you're on a flight, honey, or anywhere, and they're just acting like a whole fool, let them act like a fool. Because I'll give you one to grow on, honey, when I'm getting up out of there. That's what I will do. And it won't be anything nice. I'll say the nastiest thing that they ever heard, okay? And like I said, it won't be any threats. I'll just tell them the truth about people who act like them. Now, with that all being said, according to the complaint, the flight attendant went to the cockpit and lied to the crew about the incident, alleging that Jordan was disruptive and non-compliant. The pilot then moved to turn the plane around and ordered Jordan to be removed from the flight. A gate agent escorted Jordan and her daughter off the plane. So nobody said anything like, oh, she didn't do anything. She was just sitting there. Wow. This case epitomizes the revolting reality that even in the year 2025, Black Americans continue to endure the indignity of flying while Black, an experience steeped in humiliation and echoing the dehumanizing degradations of the Jim Crow South. This is what Jordan's complaint says. Let me tell you all why that woman was mad. Does anybody have a clue as to why Karen got so angry at that Black woman for looking at her, just looking at her? Does anyone have an idea? Because I really do. Once in the chat, if you think you know. Once in the chat, if you think you have an idea as to why she got so darn mad, because that woman simply looked at her. But of course, DC said, show off, I'm going to get paid. Okay, Juju said, read them for filth respectfully. Huh, this is all crazy. Okay, CJ said Rosewood. TC Dan said, I don't know how we can get some of the things we want done without addressing, acknowledging political stances, alliances. We got to be honest about that. Yes, we absolutely do, beloved. That's one thing that we definitely have to do. And that's why I'm saying Little Miss Crockett is very cute and all of that, but we need her putting some work in. Okay, not being entertaining. She's not a comedian, though she probably could be one. Okay, but thank you for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. There you go, G. There you go. G said it. She was in first class. That's why that woman was mad. Do y'all know that they actually hate to see Black folks sitting in first class? They ask you things like, so what do you do for a living? Oh, I mind the business that pays me. What do you do? That's what they literally ask you in first class. As if you don't belong there, or, you know, it's something special that had to have happened for you to be there. They love to ask Black people that. Has anyone ever been asked that? Because I have. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, how are you doing? What do you do for a living? Mind my own business. Okay, the business that pays me. What do you do? That's what I told her. Okay, that's what I told her. Because these people getting mad when they see us in first class. Like we don't deserve, all right, the nerve of us to afford it. I mean, it's real crazy. Anyway, I think that's exactly why she got mad. Because why would you tell somebody, you know, don't look at you like that. Don't look me up and down. First of all, you can't tell anybody how to look at you. That's what you can't do. You don't get to tell me what the hell to do with my eyes. That's what you don't get to do. But anyway, So anyway, goes on to say that Jordan's attorney, John Nordensberg, said in a statement, it's absolutely outrageous what happened to her. She has multiple eyewitnesses who saw what happened. Perfect strangers who wrote to Delta about it. Here's the thing. And while she was acting a damn fool, I would have been recording her with my phone. I would have put up my phone and started recording her. Okay? I wouldn't even have to record her face. I would have just started recording so she couldn't see it and recording what she was saying and how I was saying nothing. That's what I would have been doing. Like, girl, you got people effed up. Okay, so anyway, Delta addressed the suit saying, while we have no specific comment on this pending litigation, Delta has zero tolerance for discrimination in any form. Please get the F out of here. Okay, how many times do we have to hear the same BS over and over and over? Okay, I'm just so annoyed at this point. Okay, I'm just so annoyed, honey. I'll be waiting on a Karen to try me because I wish a Karen would. I promise you that. I wish you would, Karens, if you're out there, if you're listening, okay? Please, okay, make my day is all I'm saying. Now, let's talk about Jasmine Crockett first, okay? Let's talk about Jasmine Crockett because, you know, everybody was just all excited. The people that are Jasmine Crockett critics, they were all excited because they felt like Representative Issa went in on her, set her straight, so to speak. So let's talk about it. Daryl Issa stops Crockett cold with real-time fact check on impeachment judges. So Representative Daryl Issa delivered a quick fact check to Representative Jasmine Crockett during a Tuesday hearing, using her own previous actions to discredit her current position on the impeachment of judges. Crockett, along with several other Democrats, used her time during the committee hearing to complain that democracy itself would be left in shambles if Republicans were to succeed in impeaching any of the judges who have unilaterally blocked President Donald Trump's administration from taking certain actions. Well, you know, they do need to be blocked from certain things, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, they absolutely do. So I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go.
The problem that we have right now is that if we continue down this road, then we will not have a rule of law because we have people that are currently serving and they're saying things like, ignore the judge's order. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did. Thank you, and I yield.
And I'll yield back to Mr. Issa. Mr. Issa, you had a question for me, which I'll yield to you now. If you want.
Now that there's no time left. Thanks,
I'm
Eric.
entertainment.
You're good. You're good at that, but I'll take my own time. I'll recognize myself. And I'm going to note that when Miss Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito, Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsored along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous. And I think this is a good example. For the last 3 hours, I have had to listen to one side talking about impeachment as though it was the nature of this hearing. It is not.
Okay, well, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that, right? TC Dan said, really, dude? They hate little Miss Crockett, okay? They absolutely do not like her. Bless her heart. So anyway, now let's talk about Cory Booker. They say Cory Booker gave a 25-hour speech yesterday. They said that darn Cory Booker gave the longest speech in history. Okay, I mean, they went in on this man, but hold on, let's listen to just a tad bit of it. Because he was, you know, giving John Lewis his flowers. Okay, that's what he was doing. He was giving John Lewis his flowers. And we all love John Lewis, don't we? April said, really, Wig? The Equal said, do we have to? Nessa G said 25 hours and 5 minutes. You are nefarious, honey. Let's get into it.
The power of the people is greater than the people in power. It is time to heed the words of the man I began this whole thing with, John Lewis. I beg folks to take his example of his early days where he made himself determined to show his love for his country at a time the country didn't love him, to love this country so much, to be such a patriot that he endured beatings savagely on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, at lunch counters, on freedom rides. He said he had to do something.
He said he had to do something, but getting his ace beat was what he thought was the thing to do. He thought getting his behind beat was the thing to do. And then remember how he thanked them for beating his behind, and then he talked about getting into good trouble. They praised this man for being a whole raccoon. Now, I know some of y'all might get mad, but that is the truth. Okay, they praised John Lewis because that man was a raccoon. You think I'm going to sit there and thank somebody for pummeling me, going upside my head? Like, this is all crazy. Cory, please sit down somewhere, sir.
He would not normalize a moment like this. He would not just go along with business as usual. He wouldn't know how to solve it. But there's one thing that he would do that I hope we all can do that I think I did a little bit of tonight. He said for us to go out and cause some good trouble, necessary trouble, to redeem the soul of our nation. I want you to redeem the dream. Let's be bold in America, not to mean and degrade Americans, not divide us against each other. Let's be bolder in America with a vision that inspires, with hope that starts with the people of the United States of America. That's how this country started. We, the people. Let's get back to the ideals that others are threatening. Let's get back to our founding documents, that those imperfect geniuses had some very special words at the end of the Declaration of Independence. It was one of the greatest in all of humanity declarations of interdependence. When our founder said we must mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Cory Booker, if you don't get your ace out of here talking about let's get in good trouble. Oh, no thanks. Okay, no thanks. I'm fresh out, sir. I am fresh out. All right, he's going to cry in the car. He needs to sit down somewhere. Now, mind you, they said he gave the longest speech in the history of a speech. And then when asked to how he did it, Cory said that he fasted and curbed his water intake to prepare for the record-breaking speech. I'm not even lying. Y'all think it's a game? Let's get into it. Okay, I am so done with Cory Booker. Remember that time he was talking about Kamala, or not Kamala, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and then started crying? Oh, Lord.
History was made. Check out this time-lapse video we have of Democratic Senator Cory Booker from the Garden State of New Jersey delivering his record-breaking speech on the floor of the U.S. Senate. 25 hours and 4 minutes, the longest speech in the history of the U.S. Senate. Take a listen to what he said about the state of the Democratic Party right now.
I confess that I've been inadequate to the moment. I confess that the Democratic Party has made terrible mistakes that have given lane to this demagogue. I confess we all must look in the mirror and say we will do better. And it's not just defining ourselves what we're against.
And Senator Booker is joining me now. And for anybody watching at home, please understand we gave him a chair. He's sitting in a chair right now. The illusion is that he's standing. But for people who don't know, you had to stand the whole time. You couldn't take a bathroom break. The only break of any sort you got was if one of your colleagues would ask you a question to give your voice a break.
Yes.
How are you feeling? physically and also emotionally, the longest speech in the history of the U.S. Senate.
Well, I'm physically not in the best shape, but I am emotionally just feeling really fed right now and grateful, and kind of just really grateful for a lot of the people who lent support to the effort, and obviously the constituents, the dozens and dozens of folks who gave me their stories, who gave me their hurt, their pain, their anger, their demands of me that I read, and their really humble offers that tell me what I can do. It was some very moving speeches, and then some of my colleagues came on the floor and just told them very emotional stories too that really sourced me through the whole challenge.
Wait a darn minute here. So you mean to tell me that this man literally stood up there for 25 hours and 4 minutes talking? I thought that was a joke. I thought they were embellishing. I had no idea that he talked that long. Truth Brown said, Truth Brown said he's possessed by the demon crack demon. Bryce said, did he ask the other Senate for $20 each? Oh my God, y'all are awful. DJ Big Six said, miss me with the BS. Oh my God, let's continue.
It was obviously a very emotional experience. Just one more question on the physicality of it, which is, you were a football star at Stanford University. You're 56 years old now, but you were a football star 20-something years ago. Was this more difficult than being a football star and taking some of those hits on the gridiron?
It was just different, my friend. It was just different. This was real, physical challenge. I had to think of a lot of strategic things to do in order to prepare for it. And then, and you're right, I'm a lot older than that football player, a lot less hair too. So it was a challenge, it was a trial, but I really felt lifted by the energy as Congress people started coming over, a lot of my CBC, Congressional Black Caucus friends. It just turned out to be, when the gallery started filling up, it was a lot of folks' energy that really carried me to try to do as I sort of framed the whole speech with John Lewis's demand to all of us. His spirit just talked a lot about doing good trouble and necessary trouble.
It was a very moving part of your speech. We should note the previous record was set rather ignominiously by then Democrat, eventually he became a Republican, Senator Strom Thurmond, who was filibustering the Civil Rights Act in 1957. You weren't filibustering anything. You were giving this speech, so not to block legislation, but I want to know, what do you say to somebody who says, well, why were you doing this? Other people have done it to block legislation. Ted Cruz did it to try to stop Obamacare. I think he was doing it in 2013, maybe. Your friend, Senator Chris Murphy, who was there with you the whole time, did it to try to get some anti-gun legislation votes. Tell us the purpose of this.
I think we're really at a point in America where things are happening that don't sit right with people of both sides of the aisle. I did everything I could to read from Republican governors, from the Cato Institute, from the Manhattan Institute, all talking about just the insanity of trying to pass a budget right now that's going to blow the biggest single president record for creating more debt, more deficit, giving tax cuts that are disproportionately going to go to the wealthiest Americans who don't need that tax cut. And then all the while gutting things like Medicaid. It just makes no sense. There's so many things going on by this president who is trashing our allies, bullying Canada, who is in many ways just violating judges' orders, trampling on our Article 1 power. So I just wanted to give a speech that said that this is not normal and we can't normalize it. And all of us have a responsibility to do something different, to take some risks, to be there for each other and to try to ignite a larger movement in our country, the kind of movement that stopped Donald Trump from taking away the Affordable Care Act. And perhaps together, collectively, if we all speak out, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, the absurdity of some of this, perhaps we can make changes and change some policies and get some other Republicans to change their votes to stop bad things from happening.
Just to play a little bit more of your speech, you did acknowledge Senator Strom Thurmond and his record-breaking until today, 24-hour, 18-minute speech to oppose the Civil Rights Act. Let's roll a little bit about what you had to say about Senator Thurmond.
I just got paid $60,000 for my car crash from using this app on my phone. And I don't know if you could see.
To hate him is wrong. And maybe my ego got too caught up that if I stood here, maybe, just maybe I could break this record of the man who tried to stop the rights upon which I stand. I'm not here, though, because of his speech. I'm here despite his speech. I'm here because as powerful as he was, the people were more powerful.
Bethia said she loves Cory Booker, and she said, no, he read letters from his people in his district. It was moving. Okay, life is different now, family. I'm old enough to remember Jim Crow days. Well, you know, beloved, listen, I'm not trying to take anything away from our ancestors who lived through Jim Crow. In fact, I applaud them for their due diligence. But here's the thing with Mr. Cory Booker and you know, other people who get up there and give these powerful, you know, motivational speeches and whatnot. Well, you know, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't need them to motivate me. I'm already motivated. I'm self-motivated. What I need them to do is pass legislation. I need them to focus on people who look like me and what they can do to help us propel forward. That's what I need them to do. I don't need to hear these little speeches where he's praising John Lewis for being a whole raccoon and, you know, bragging about getting beaten up and get good trouble. I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear it. And quite frankly, I don't like to see Black men sitting up there getting all teary-eyed and gushy like they're about to cry. I like to see strong Black men who speak with authority, like Justin Pearson the other day when he went in. Okay, that's what I like to see. I don't want to see you sitting up here crying or you getting all overly emotional or about to break down. That's what Cory Booker always does. And so does Van Jones. Quite frankly, I'm never here for it. That just shows weakness. And you see, people that don't look like us, they love that. They love those kinds of Black men. That's why they'll put them out there in the forefront. Now they're praising him for talking for 25 hours and 4 minutes. What in the hell was he talking about all that time? He didn't have to take a nap. There's no way in hell I could have stood up there and talked for 24 hours. Somebody go pull a bed out here on the stage behind the podium and let me rest my eyelids for a second or two. That's all I'm saying. Somebody bring me some water in a toilet. Why don't you? 25 hours? How do you do it? How do you do it? Frank said, might as well be bussy. I absolutely cannot. Okay, Nene said Justin doesn't go in for Black people or Black issues. What are you talking about? Justin doesn't go in for Black people or Black issues. What's he going in for? He absolutely does. I have to disagree.
Now, let me confess. You told me that you were going to try to do this. Now, you didn't say that you were going to make it to beat Strom Thurmond. You didn't even know if you were going to make it to the top 10. Chris Murphy, I guess, was number 10 in terms of the history books. I think Ted Cruz was maybe 6 or something like that, maybe 5. But in any case, did you think you were going to be able to achieve this? And how does it feel to know that you knocked him out of the history books on that issue?
Chris Murphy and I had a moment around the 15th hour when we were passing what we did together. I told Chris Murphy I wasn't going to sit down if he wasn't going to sit down. So I did everything that he did for me today to sort of, you have somebody running point for you, running interference for you. Chris was amazing today. And at the 15th hour, he came over to me and said, how you feeling? And I really at that point felt I could do it. I felt I could do it. And I will tell you, the reality is that I really felt the energy of a lot of folks. The gallery was filled. There were colleagues there. My cousin, Pam, she stayed up in the gallery the entire 25 hours. So I was riding on some really great spiritual power from people around the country and from people that were there. And I feel really grateful for them. And then every time I read a constituent letter,
Okay, I've heard enough. I've heard enough. Okay, shout out to Cory for that long ass speech. Okay, I'm sure that it's going to really help us to get where we're trying to go. Yeah, not. Okay, please dismiss me with it. Okay. Nene says, listen to what he's fighting for, Queen. Black issues are never mentioned. Honey, I don't know what you're talking about. He's talking about gun violence. You don't think that's a black issue? When you have little black kids out here who grow up to be teenagers out here hanging on street corners with the older thugs, giving them guns, telling them to go carjack people, to rob people, to go out here and sell illegal substances. Of course, that's a black issue. Gun violence is definitely worse in our community than anyone else's. What are you talking about? His brother took himself out with a gun. His brother was black, was he not? Beloved, I have to disagree. Okay, please no Justin Pearson blasphemy on this channel. Okay, Justin Pearson is a nice young man. All right, he is doing his due diligence. He just put out a bill that didn't pass, unfortunately, against gun violence. Okay, how are we going to sit here and knock him and say that he's not doing anything for black issues? Yes, he is. The whole time he's been in Congress, he's been fighting against gun violence. Okay, that's a black issue. All right, that is a black issue. Now, who we need to be talking about are people like Jasmine Crockett, who's sitting up here being all cute and entertaining. What's she doing? Okay, what is she doing? Has she written any legislation lately, tried to pass any bills that are going to benefit her people? I have questions. Now, Justin Pearson has done his job, has been doing his job as far as I'm concerned. Okay, as far as I'm concerned. And you know, now they're talking about he needs to have some consequences, and they want to have a board to review, you know, what happened the other day when he went all in or whatever. So they're going to probably give him definitely some consequences for that. Now let's talk about Obama, because they say that Obama, here it is right here. They say Obama was blocking Kamala. That's what they say. Pretty much said he was hating on Kamala. Barack Obama was working against Kamala Harris behind the scenes, 2024. Didn't think she would win. And it's all in a new book, they say. Former President Barack Obama reportedly advocated against Democrats nominating Vice President Kamala Harris in the wake of President Joe Biden dropping out of the 2024 presidential election because Obama didn't think Harris could win, according to an upcoming book. Here's the thing. Who told y'all that? I'm sorry. Who told y'all that? Yeah, I told you all that, didn't I? Didn't I tell you all that Obama is fake and fraud, and he was sitting up there going in on black men, trying to call them misogynists because they didn't want to support Kamala? And then I said at the same time, Barack didn't even want Kamala to be running. He didn't want her to be the pick. He wanted Mike Waltz. Y'all remember that? The guy that was the astronaut, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, he wanted open primaries. He didn't want them to pick her. He didn't want them to pick her. I told y'all that. I told y'all the queen be knowing, honey. Please pay attention. Jeff said you sure did, queen. Yes. Okay. Now it's all coming out in a book. See, let me tell y'all something. These politicians are so fake and fraud. The nerve of him to not think that Kamala could even win and to not even be down for her, but then to get up there and scold black men. Okay, I'm sorry. He should have scolded himself. Do you all see the hypocrisy of it all? And that's why I was going in on him when he was talking all slick and greasy to those black men, because I already knew that he don't even like Kamala. And I also told you all that one of the main reasons he didn't want Kamala to be the pick was because he felt like he likely felt, in my opinion, that would do something to upset his legacy because he was the first black president. Okay, now then if we had a black woman president, then that would just overshine his contributions. Okay, just keeping it a buck. Now I know some of us said she wasn't black, but that's how they were painting her. So you get what I'm saying. They would have definitely said she's the first black and the first female president, and that would have overshone what Obama had done or accomplished. And so no, Obama didn't want her to win, didn't think she could. Okay, he was for Mike Waltz, and I told y'all that. Now, that all being said, Former President Barack Obama reportedly advocated against Democrats nominating Vice President Harris in the wake of President Joe Biden dropping out of the 2024 presidential election because Obama didn't think Harris could win, according to an upcoming book. Now, the 44th president reportedly argued for an open convention rather than anointing Harris as the nominee after Biden's shocking dropout. Y'all heard it here first. Okay, despite her having support from other Democrats, according to reporter Jonathan Allen, co-author of Fight, Inside the Wildest Battle of the White House, or for the White House. President Obama absolutely did not think that Joe Biden should continue, according to our sources close to President Obama. And he also didn't want Kamala Harris to be the replacement for Biden. This is what Allen said in an interview on MSNBC's Morning Joe on Tuesday. He didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats, and he worked really hard behind the scenes for a long time to try to have a mini primary or an open convention or a mini primary leading to an open convention. He was doing all that. He went in on black men. He did not have faith in her ability to win the election. Neither did those black men that he was scolding. And I find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. He is nothing but a hypocrite. See, this is why I don't fool with Obama. This is why right here. This is one of the reasons. He was really working against her. Okay. Allen further revealed that on a phone call with a Veep on the very day, Veep, V-E-E-P, Veep, what is that? What is Veep? Does anybody know what Veep is? What kind of title is that, honey? I might be slow. Hold on. Oh, that's what they call the vice president, the Veep, V-E-E-P. Okay, new one for me. But anyway, I thought maybe that's what it was, but I had to be sure. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say, Allen further revealed that on a phone call with a Veep on the very day Biden passed the baton to Harris, Obama refused to endorse her candidacy as the nominee. And let me tell you all something. I told you that too. That's how I knew he really didn't like her arse. Because first of all, Barack waited. When all the other Democrats were endorsing Kamala and giving her their support, Barack Obama waited and waited in the wings. He was late getting to it. He was late coming out and endorsing her and showing his support. I told you all that. I pointed it out to you. So that just let me know that he really didn't want her to be the pick. Okay, while he's sitting here, but he sat there and tried to go in on other people. Anyway, Obama refused to endorse her candidacy as the nominee. Now, in one moment, he had set up a phone call with Congressman James Clyburn from South Carolina on the day that Joe Biden handed the baton to Kamala Harris. And Biden had set up a call with Clyburn for like 5:30 that afternoon. And Clyburn thought to himself, this guy is going to try to rope me into the open convention thing. I had better get my endorsement of Harris out there fast. So this is a short conversation. This is what Allen relayed of the backroom power dynamics. Said Clyburn said, let me just go ahead and let him know before he even tries it that I'm down for Kamala. Where is Obama so I can just go ahead and lecture him like he was doing those black men? Both the former president and the former First Lady Michelle Obama eventually did lend their support to Harris, but not until 5 days after Biden announced that he was no longer running. We told her we think she'll make a fantastic president of the United States and that she has our full support, Obama said in his endorsement posted on X at the time, accompanying a video of a staged phone call. Not a staged phone call, honey, the shade of it all. Okay, yeah. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it, honey. Obama didn't want Kamala to be there. Didn't think she could win. Blocked her. Okay. So I find it interesting, like I said. I find it awesome. Hold on. And here's what Fox News had to say about it, because you know they had to say something on it. Let's talk about it.
Close to President Obama. And President Obama absolutely did not think that Joe Biden should continue, according to our sources close to President Obama. And he also didn't want Kamala Harris to be the replacement for Biden. He didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats. And he worked really behind the scenes for a long time to try to have a mini primary or an open convention or mini primary leading to an open convention. Did not have faith in her ability to win the election. So, and as it turned out, she didn't win, but he was really working against her. In one moment, he had set up a phone call with Congressman Clyburn from South Carolina on the day that Joe Biden handed off the baton to Kamala Harris. And Obama had set up a call with Clyburn for like 5:30 that afternoon. And Clyburn thought to himself, this guy's going to try to rope me into the open convention thing. I better get my endorsement of Harris out there fast so that this is a short conversation. So that's, and when Harris talked to Obama on the day that Biden handed off to her, Obama was unwilling to give his endorsement then.
I find it all so interesting, okay? I find it all so interesting. Just fake and fraud. Okay, now let's talk about Eli Hanig breaks down the loophole Trump's team sees for the third term. Yeah, Trump wants a third term, remember. But they tried to go in on Jasmine Crockett for saying that there won't be any more elections in the United States. Well, that's what Trump said. Vote for me. You'll never have to vote again. Isn't that what he said? Now they're talking about a third term for this devil. Honey, let's see what's really going down. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. We do not need Trump in there for a third term, okay? I don't know if I can deal with it. All right, I might have to pack a bag and leave myself. That'll be the day.
President Trump's second term has barely started, and he's already floating the possibility of a third one, even though the U.S. Constitution forbids it. Trump telling NBC News this weekend, quote, there are methods by which he could do it, and that he's, quote, not joking. The 22nd Amendment is very clear. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. Where is this wiggle room that Trump is seeing?
Well, Bree, you're exactly right. Lawyers love wiggle room and escape hatches. And here they're looking at the word elected. So here's the argument. It's fringy, but the 22nd Amendment says nobody should be elected president more than twice. Well, the theory is, well, then maybe what Donald Trump or any two-term president can do is run as vice president with, let's say, J.D. Vance at the top of the ticket. If they win, J.D. Vance resigns, Donald Trump becomes president. The argument is that, well, that wouldn't be getting elected. That would be becoming president through the line of succession, ascending to the presidency. So now the biggest problem with this, of course, though, is earlier in the Constitution. The 12th Amendment tells us that any person who's ineligible to be president is also ineligible to be vice president. So you would think that ends the question. That seems pretty straightforward. There is a very fringy, extreme school of thought that the 12th Amendment doesn't quite close the door on this, but I think those advocates are trying to thread a needle that is not threadable.
A little too cute by half there. So Trump said, in addition to the J.D. Vance option, there are others too. That's a quote. What are they?
Well, the most straightforward option, it's completely unrealistic, but we can always amend the Constitution. I mean, we have done that 27 times in our history. It's virtually impossible in today's political landscape. In order to amend the Constitution, there's two ways to do it. One, we can convene a series of statewide constitutional conventions. That's never happened. That's not going to happen. Two, maybe equally as unlikely, you would have to get a 2/3 vote in the House of Representatives, a 2/3 vote in the U.S. Senate, and then 3/4 of the states, 38 of the 50 states would have to ratify that. So in theory, you could do that, but there's a 0.00% chance of that happening in reality.
Well, okay, Trump needs to sit down somewhere. Nobody wants him in there for a third term. Trust and believe, okay? Even at this point, I don't think his own supporters want him back in there for a third term. Okay, just keeping it real. I mean, with all the shenanigans him and Elon have been up to, I don't think people want to see him in there for a third term. Trump is grasping at straws, okay? It's not going to happen. It is absolutely not going to happen. Now, let's get into this because Schumer has some things to say about the efforts to mess up Social Security. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
So Democrats seizing on Elon Musk's vow to audit the Social Security Administration to stop extreme fraud, like they're doing in every department across the spectrum. And they're claiming, though, Schumer's claiming that it's really just an effort to kill the program entirely.
Their goal is clear: destroy Social Security from within.
Hold on, Measure Man says, I need him to focus on eggs, not the Gulf of America, all these distractions. I know, right? Just stop trying to bully everybody and do what's best for this darn country and leave Social Security alone. Okay, that's what he needs to be doing right about now. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings.
Make it so unworkable, so inefficient, that Donald Trump has the pretext to slash benefits, to kill it, and then privatize the program.
All right, let's start there with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Secretary, it's great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us today. Is that the goal, to kill Social Security from within, as we just heard from Senator Schumer?
Martha, first of all, thanks for having me. And clearly, no. Senator Schumer seems a little discombobulated these days. He did the right thing on passing the clean CR. Last week, he's taken a lot of shrapnel from his party, and extreme statements like this are not helpful for anyone. The American people, when they voted for President Trump, voted for accountability, and whether it's DOJ, whether it is our efforts at Treasury and the IRS, we are bringing accountability and efficiency in, and we want to make things better for the American people. We want to ensure that they get everything that they have paid in, and their benefits are there when they need them, as they need them. So, Senator Schumer is way off base here.
So, I mean, there's a difference, obviously, between eliminating waste and fraud, which you've spoken about a lot, and President Trump has spoken about a lot. And still being able to give people all of the benefits that they paid into. But one of the ideas that has come up, and President Bush brought it up a long time ago, W. Bush, that maybe the Social Security, the money in Social Security should have some of it invested in the market. That idea got lambasted. People said he was, trying to risk their money in the risky stock market. But is that an idea that resonates with you? And do you think it would help us remain solvent in Social Security?
Well, Martha, everything's easy in hindsight. And, I saw an analysis the other day that in 1968, if we put half the Social Security trust fund into equities, we'd have a 15 trillion surplus.
Wow.
But we didn't. We are where we are. We are not contemplating that. What we are contemplating is bringing the systems and the safeguards into the 2025, giving the American people accountability and ensuring the durability of the system, and to make sure that people's checks arrive on time. President Trump yesterday signed an executive order at Treasury mandating that we examine our payment system and try to get more people onto the electronic payment platform, because you may not know it, but there is a huge amount of theft of seniors' Social Security checks. So if they are able to get into an electronic payment system, then they are much more secure. They come earlier, and they are guaranteed.
Yeah, I saw that, and I know you want to, move it over to a digital system that would be safer and that would guarantee that people's payments go through. It's probably going to be a big transition, and how long do you think that will take?
Well, for us, I don't think it's going to take that long. One of the things that I've been at my desk for 8 weeks, and one of the things that we've done is we make 1.5 billion payments a year, and we want to make sure that all of those are authorized. And one of the ways to do that, I came in and found out that a third of the payments that we send out did not have proper identifiers on them to tie them back to an appropriation to a department. So we're just starting with the basics. And I'm
Absolutely.
very big on crawl, walk, run. And so We're going to stop crawling. We're going to get up, walk, have everything properly identified, and then we're going to fix these antiquated IT systems and make sure that they are safe and sound, and that people get their checks in a more robust basis.
I think it's about time. You know, we see so much great technology in
Okay, saying they're trying to make it to where people get their checks in a much more robust time. Is that what he said? Okay, well, we'll see. At the end of the day, listen, I don't know exactly what Trump's plans are, but it looks like he's making a whole mess of the government. Okay, maybe something's going to work out for our best interest, but I'm not sure. Okay, right now, it looks like he's making a mess of stuff. People are complaining about their income taxes haven't come. Okay, they fired all those people at the IRS. They fired all these people at the post office. People aren't getting their mail. It's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. Okay, and at the end of the day, Trump is supposed to be fixing the economy. That's one of the main things that he ran his campaign on, talking about what he's going to do for the economy. And it looks like he's making a whole mess of everything. And that's just my opinion. The Inkwell said the government is in the Stone Age. Okay, I mean, this is just all a hot mess as far as I'm concerned. But listen, before I go out of here, let me give you all your lifelines, because y'all need to be prepared for these tornado outbreaks that they're talking about. This just in minutes ago. Okay, it says millions brace for tornado outbreak and flash flooding and powerful spring storm. Up to 72 million from Texas to Michigan are under severe storm risk as heavy rains, flash flooding, and strong tornadoes are forecast to hit the lower Ohio Valley and the Mid-South. And when they're talking about Ohio Valley, well, if you live in Louisville, Kentucky, or in that area, the Kentucky area, you need to be paying attention to. Okay, so I'm going to the news report. And here's the thing. They're talking about tornado outbreak. That sounds like somebody's using HARP. Now, I'm not going to say somebody is, but that's what it sounds like, because they had a super tornado outbreak back in 1974, April the 3rd of, okay? And that was HARP, allegedly.
Right? For that activity, you're going to
The weather, tens of millions all over the country, once again in the path of some really dangerous storms, including a significant risk of tornadoes. Dylan is in for Al this morning. Dylan, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. This is going to be a serious situation because we do have this risk of tornadoes in a possible outbreak through the central part of the country here. We already have tornado watches in effect. Most likely these will be extended through the day as the storms increase in severity and increase in just how widespread they are. And there's also the possibility that some of these storms could last until midnight tonight. So nocturnal tornadoes are a possibility. Now, this is a rare high risk area for these severe storms from Paducah down to Memphis. We could see multiple long track storms that are EF3 in power or higher. So that is going to be a major concern. And even where we don't have the EF3 or higher tornadoes, we still have the threat of EF2 or higher tornadoes. That includes Ohio down through Indiana into Illinois, stretching all the way into extreme northeastern Texas. So this is going to be a major storm system. Tomorrow it weakens a bit, but still widespread storms are possible, basically from the interior northeast down to Texas, with wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, hail 2 inches or more in diameter. And then as we go into Friday, we're still looking at that risk in the same part of the country. So areas that get hit hard today could once again get hit on Thursday or Friday as well. We also have a strong risk of extreme flooding. 15 inches or more of rain is possible. We'll get into this part of the story in more detail, but today the biggest threat is for those very powerful tornadoes.
All right, so there you have it. It's going to be very powerful tornadoes. Now, here is another report from CBS. You all need to be preparing for this ahead of time. Don't wait until the last minute.
With millions of Americans in the path of potentially life-threatening storms right now, Ginger is in the threat zone in Memphis, Tennessee, tracking this once-in-a-generation extreme weather event. And Ginger, we could see an exceedingly rare double whammy for certain areas, tornadoes and extreme flooding.
That's exactly right, Robin. So here we are in Memphis, Tennessee. We're in a level 5 out of 5, high risk. You don't see these issued but about 1% of the time. It makes it 3 times more likely that we will see a violent tornado today. That's the type of event we're talking about, and that's just the first part before the flooding. So let's talk about the line of storms. It blew through Oklahoma City just a little bit ago here. You see video of the lightning flashing. They had ping pong ball or golf ball sized hail. Then up in Kansas, at least 2 reported tornadoes. That video from Salina, and they can see the winds kind of blowing. Along that line, they've had 80-mile-per-hour winds. We've got tornado watches in place from Missouri down through the Ozarks and northwestern Arkansas into eastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. That line keeps marching east. St. Louis, it will hit. And then by the time we hit 7 p.m., we're going to get it here in Memphis up to, say, Paducah. But even Indianapolis will be getting storms. And then we'll move it just a little to the east before it kind of stalls out. We'll get to that part. But focused on the tornado part, that red area and then the hot pink area, those are the spots where you could see strong tornadoes. We're talking EF3 or greater all the way through Arkansas, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, up into southern Indiana. Wanted to just point out, though, the second and equally as important, particularly dangerous situation, flood watch. That's where we're talking about days of rain along the Mississippi Delta here in Arkansas and Tennessee, northern Mississippi, but also flood alerts all the way up to Detroit and Cleveland. When we're looking at 10 to 15 inches of rain falling in just a couple of days, George, a reminder that nearly half of the deaths in flash flooding come in vehicles. So turn around, don't drown has never been more important.
Yeah, you got to follow that advice. Okay, Ginger, thanks very much.
Begin tonight with what authorities say are life-threatening storms moving in right across several states at this hour. Dallas.
Okay, so you all heard that. Now, there was floods and all of that in Atlanta. Okay, and let's talk about the damage that was reported across metro Atlanta, North Georgia, as Monday storms moved through. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm pretty sure this is the devil's doing all of this, my opinion.
Cleanup across the metro will likely take days in some areas and weeks in others, especially in Henry County, which is about an hour southeast of Atlanta. The National Weather Service confirmed that was a tornado that barreled through that area. Atlanta News First Don Shipman is live with the First Alert breaking news tracker just outside of McDonough. And Don, what is it looking like there now?
It's a big mess here right now. The county is here along with some independent contractors working to clear the road. It's down to 1 lane right in this area. You can see all those workers down there. Now, I just talked with a man who grew up here. He's thankful that his childhood home was spared.
John Wilson says in the 30 years his family has lived here, they've never seen anything like this.
But you got to be thankful that nothing happened to the house.
Praise the Lord. Yeah, nothing happened to the house and nobody was injured.
The National Weather Service says an EF1 tornado with wind speeds up to 90 miles per hour swept through Henry County, just outside McDonough. No major damage to homes or buildings, but dozens of big trees were uprooted or snapped in half, causing widespread power outages and road closures. Brennan Road alone seeing at least 40 trees destroyed.
It's pretty bad. We got some widowmakers hanging over the driveway. Everything's been cleaned out across the road. Subdivisions going in. So there's nothing to block the wind that's coming through here.
Less than 24 hours after the tornado touched down, tree companies hard at work removing debris from roads and driveways.
My neighbor was coming in and he got blocked as soon as he came in from the storm. So he had to cut his way out of it.
Wilson thankful no one was hurt, while also acknowledging it'll likely be days before things are back to normal.
And back here live, that's the tree he was referencing. You can see another tree is holding it up in place. This wasn't the only tornado either. The National Weather Service just confirmed that the damage in Coweta County was also a second tornado. No injuries to report. The National Weather Service said that it is also traveling to Fayette and Clayton counties today to survey damage in that area. Also, we just learned southern Bibb and northern Houston counties, they'll survey damage in that area as well. We're live here in Henry County. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
And it's official, a tornado cut a path.
All right. Well, that didn't affect the Queen, honey. That was in Henry and Coweta County. Now, I did have to go to Henry County yesterday, but I wasn't caught in a storm. Okay, so please pay attention. You all make sure that you're getting yourselves prepared just in case if one of those tornadoes hits your area. Okay? With that all been said, and just make sure you're following your lifelines anyway with the non-perishable food items, purchasing water every time you go to the store, having your first aid kits, your flashlights, batteries, candles, you name it. Okay, and all of that, a generator if you can afford one. All right, make sure you have those things. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Okay, please like and share and subscribe. Double check to make sure you're still subscribed. For any new person that has recently subscribed to the channel, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you need to make sure each day that you're still subscribed because they will unsubscribe y'all. Okay, now we will be on the spiritual channel later on this evening. Okay, probably around 5 or 6. Okay, I'll send out the notifications or send out the links to those of you whose emails that I have. And with that all being said, I will talk to you all then. At that time, I'll talk to you all then. So everyone enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay, and also listen, if you missed yesterday's broadcast, go back and check those out. All right, and I love you all to life, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got